Hello and welcome back. I'm standing here in a parking lot in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and what's behind me is something special. I have an XPeng P7 Performance all-wheel drive long-range electric car. Why is this so special? It's so special because I am actually the very first person to drive this vehicle on North American soil, which is pretty cool. XPeng is doing an IPO and they have the vehicle here to display at the New York Stock Exchange, and we kind of set up this last minute driving review. So I'm only about 5 miles from Wall Street right now, and they rented out the parking lot at MetLife Stadium where the Giants and Jets play football, and I get to drive this car for a couple of hours through slaloms. I get to do braking tests, 0 to 60 runs, pretty much whatever I want to do with the car here in the parking lot. The only problem is I can't test a lot of the smart features that this car has, which is one of the things that XPeng is really proud of. They have this fantastic self-driving system with adaptive cruise control, lane centering control, adaptive lane control, plus their X-Pilot parking features. And unfortunately, because of where we're set up, I can't really test those out today. We're not allowed to drive it on the road because all of the instrumentation is still in Chinese. But a little bit later on in the video, I'm going to have an XPeng representative sit down with me in the car and go over all of the user interface, see how things work. She can explain things. She could actually make things work, because when I sit in it, I don't know what's going on in there. I know it looks cool and it's a beautiful layout, but I'm struggling just to maybe turn on the air conditioning. But we're going to go through that a little later. For now, I'm going to jump in the car, drive the heck out of it. We're going to find out if XPeng really delivered a high-performance sports sedan like they've promised.
So Tom, you just whipped this car around the track. What'd you think?
So interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed my time behind the wheel driving it like that. We had a lot of fun, but definitely is a different type of performing vehicle. It's a performance car, don't get me wrong. It handled the slalom really well. It brakes fantastically. The Brembo braking system is excellent on this car, and it accelerates really briskly. The lane change maneuvers we did worked really well. The car is a performance car. That said, you can tell it's tuned for the Chinese market, and what I mean by that is the Chinese are much more interested in general, I hate to generalize, but it's true, in comfort and luxury than they are in ultimate performance. Now, they want the cars to perform, but they would, and for the most part, sacrifice some of the performance to make sure the car is supple and comfortable and rides like a luxury car. And this car comes pretty close to that, has a very good balance. It absorbs, say, the bumps in this parking lot and irregularities much better than my Model 3 would. However, it's not quite as responsive in the turns. The steering is a little slower than my Model 3 is, but that's the compromise you make. You can't have it all. Overall, though, I think it's a great balance between comfort. The seats are super comfortable, great support, great lateral support. The vehicle performed, you know, as well as I expected to. I think it's a good balance between what the market wants and XPeng trying to put out like this ultra high performance vehicle. So I would suspect if XPeng brings this car to Europe and the US, and I'm going to make a bold prediction that they're going to, maybe not right now, because I think they're going to sell as many as they can make in the Chinese market for a while, considering that it's the price point of this vehicle for what you get is outstanding. It's got great value. But I think down the road, they have their eyes set on Europe and US. I think that's part of the reason why they listed on the New York Stock Exchange right now. They just did their IPO. I suspect if they do that, they'll tune the suspension slightly differently. It'll have a more sporty feel. The steering will be a little bit quicker, a little bit more of a crisp response, less body roll. But then, you know what? When you're going over these bumps, you're going to feel them a little bit more like you do, say, in my Model 3, for instance. But listen, that's all, they can do that. I mean, this chassis was co-developed with Porsche and XPeng. So they've got some experience behind this. XPeng just didn't do this on their own. They went out and set out to develop a chassis that could be a world-class performance vehicle. So I think it would just be a matter of tuning it. If you tune this vehicle a little bit more for performance, I think it would be fantastic. Now, the only thing that I will say, if I'm going to be critical of, it doesn't have that instantaneous snap of acceleration. There's a slight delay of about 1/8 of a second, and that bothers me. Some other electric vehicles have that also, but it seems like with my car, with my Tesla and my BMW i3, the second my foot touches the accelerator, it just lunges forward. This, you punch it, and then that split second later, it takes off like a rocket. I don't want the split second later. I want it to immediately take off, and I think that's something that XPeng could work out, and I'm sure they can. I'm sure their engineers could eliminate that. But as it is right now, you get that slight delay, and it's still better than any gas car you'll drive, but it's not quite there yet for me on that instant torque acceleration. Other than that, the XPeng P7 performance, in my mind, is a winner. It has super long range. It's got an 80 kilowatt hour battery. It's got a suite of driver assist features that, you know, will rival any car. Beautiful interior, nice laid out gauges, and it really performs on the track more than what you would need on the road. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up and say that XPeng has nailed it with this one. This vehicle is ready for prime time. So I'm here with Mei Ling, an XPeng representative. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the cool features on the XPeng P7. I just did a quick walk around the car. I noticed it comes standard with Brembo brakes. It's got 19-inch wheels with 245/45 Michelin Pro Pilot tires, so the vehicle's ready to get that grip on the road. But there's also some other really cool features of the car, like this light bar that comes across the front of the vehicle. You could do like light shows with music, and it also tells other things about the car, like when it's charging. So maybe you could explain a little bit about how that light bar works.
Right, so this is not only a light panel right here. It can also speak to you when you actually unlock the vehicle. It actually has a green light. It's really nice and then smooth, and then it really gives you the futuristic and charm type of, you know, like you are in a space, you know. And then we do also have like maybe fast charging, like slow charging, all programmed based on the light. And so, yeah.
So in other words, the light displays whether you're fast charging or slow charging.
Right.
Okay. Right. And just out of curiosity, does it stay lit the whole time while the car's fast charging and slow charging, or does it turn off after a while? Do you know that?
It does. It does. Pretty much for the first 10 minutes.
Okay, and then it shuts off. Yeah, I think it would be especially a waste.
When this vehicle is far away, it's automatically shutting down.
Yeah.
It's just a couple feet away, and then you can actually. So
you can see, the owner can see it, but it's not going to be there flashing lights the whole time when you've walked away, you know, a half an hour later.
Right.
That's smart. Could you also tell us a little bit about the cameras and sensors? The car has 14 external cameras and 17 sensors. So this is a super smart vehicle. And why don't you tell us a little bit about how those work?
Yeah, so we have 17 sensors, 5 are radar sensors and 12 are ultrasonic sensors. And we have all around 14 cameras total. 4 are surrounded view cameras and 10 are high perception cameras. And these are all helping you to do all the surrounded vision, to look around, and you can take pictures or videos on the road while you are driving. And of course, because of we are driving for the autonomous driving, right, and also autonomous parking. Yeah. So these all come around when you are doing autonomous driving features on the road. So it can sense. This one carries the level 2 vehicle when it's in
level 2 autonomy.
Level 2 autonomous. And this one is level 3 ready, actually.
It's ready for level 3 when the software is ready. Yeah, but the hardware is all set.
Yes, it's OTA over the air, and then China has announced that for the level 3 autonomous driving will be upgrading over the air around early 2021.
Okay, so yeah, so within a year, you'll have the okay to be able to do that. Yeah, so that's great, because one of the things that people aren't really aware of is in different parts of the world, different levels of autonomy. An automaker can't just come out and put an autonomous car on the road. They have to get government approval first. So from what I understand now, starting in early 2021, China has approved level 3 autonomous driving. This vehicle will be ready to do it shortly thereafter. So that's great.
And also,
so I just finished thrashing this thing around the parking lot for the better part of an hour, and I have to tell you, it took what I gave it. This vehicle is a performer. It's not, say, on the level of a Model 3 performance vehicle on the track, but it's not meant to be. In China, it's a different market. Customers are looking for sport, but luxury and comfort is number one. So what I did notice was, while the vehicle was ready to perform, ready to hit the slalom, it also had a little bit more body roll than, say, a Tesla, was a little bit slower to respond. But what you pick up is comfort. Going over the bumps in this parking lot, the car absorbed them without even feeling them. I know if I was in my Model 3, I'd be jarring, bouncing up and down. It might be taking the turns a little bit better, but it wouldn't be doing it with the style and comfort that the P7 did. So, it's basically how the car is tuned. I think that for the Chinese market, where this car is going to be offered right now, it's set up perfectly. It's sporty, it's fast, the braking was excellent. It handled what I gave it, but it also did it very comfortably. The suspension absorbed everything that we went over, did it nice, nice supple ride, but it also was able to deliver the performance figures. Now, I didn't have a stopwatch, I wasn't able to time it, but the P7 performance goes 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds. At least that's what XPeng tells us it will, and it felt like it did. It felt that fast. Other than a slight hesitation, which the car does have, when you punch it, you don't just get that absolute instant acceleration like some electric cars do. Some others have a slight delay, and I felt that with this car. Wasn't enough to make me really say, oh, I wouldn't get this car, I wouldn't enjoy the car, but there is that, I don't know, an 1/8 of a second delay where you punch it and then it takes off. You don't just get that, by the time you're touching the pedal, the car's lunging forward. Has a slight delay. I've noticed that on some other electric cars. The XPeng P7 isn't the only one, but it is something that I think XPeng could work on and possibly improve. I think if they did that, it might drop the 0 to 60 time on this car closer to 4.0, maybe 4.1 seconds. I think it does knock about 0.2 of a second off of its 0 to 60 time. But while the car is rolling, that hesitation is much less pronounced. It's still there, just barely, but it's much less pronounced. And I won't let that change my mind about this car. I think it is a great performer. In the price segment that XPeng is launching it at, this starts at $32,000, goes up to $49,000 US. I think it's a winner. The fit and finish, the quality on the vehicle is excellent. I think it offers great safety features. Unfortunately, we weren't able to try out the X-Pilot here in the parking lot, but for what this car offers and the price point where it's being launched at, I think XPeng is going to do very well with this car, and I'm looking forward to keeping an eye on the sales data. I think it's going to do well. Okay, that's it for the XPeng P7 first North American drive. Check back with us soon, and if you like this video and the other videos we're doing on this channel, please don't forget to click the subscribe button. Take care.